All right, so today was the last chance ever to buy Snap-on anything on this truck. You guys might have just watched the video that I just uploaded where I went to go on a mobile mechanic / diagnostic repair. Ended up being something kind of easy, which was rodent damage, but you did see a brief clip of me on Garrett's truck. What does this mean for everybody? So Garret is in the process of going from corporate over to franchise and owning his own route. Fuck yeah, that means that makes him permanent up here. So today is kind of like our last chance BOGO deals. He's knocking off like killer percentages on their products. I'm not even going to all the details about what I got these tools for on the offset chance that not every franchise or soon to be franchisee is knocking them off. But I felt like I got a pretty good bargain on these. I really did. So this first set, this is a 32-piece screw extractor left-handed drill bit, cobalt drill bit, mind you, set. Now I have a smaller set made by Henson. Henson, I believe, was the tool brand for the left-handed drill bits and extractors that I had gotten. Well, I broke a lot of the smaller drill bits out of that set, as well as the extractors, and I even bent and tweaked one of them to the point where I can't even really use it in every occasion, right? And the other, like I said, the smaller pieces were all broken off, and the bigger pieces, this has bigger pieces. Now the rule of thumb is anything from 1/4 inch down is not covered under warranty, but maybe, just maybe, we might be able to get some of those covered under warranty if any of these break. But it's a beautiful set. I kind of figured this was almost like a freebie, kind of a toss-in with the deal that I got on this. Now I already own all these. I have the Matco ones. I believe they're rebranded Irwin. Don't quote me. I'm not too entirely sure who makes the left-handed cobalt drill bits and extractors for this set too, but I'd almost venture to say Irwin as well. Okay, that's a stretch though, because I don't know. Maybe one of you guys know. But as far as I'm concerned, this is going to get me out of a lot of pinches, especially over the dealership. We get tons of broken fasteners. Just seems to be a thing. In the video that I did, you may or may not have seen me use the Milwaukee soldering iron. Now, so many years back when they first came out with this product, I took it, I checked it out from Jeff. I didn't use it because I was afraid that if I got the tool used, I was going to have to pay for it. And in all honesty, I wanted to give it like an overview, right? So when you first fire this thing up, it's got an LED in front. Right here, it has the battery life indicator. And when this thing goes solid green, it is totally heated up. When this thing is red, wait for it to go out, and that means that this tool is cooled down. I have loved and enjoyed this specific Milwaukee product. There's not a lot of Milwaukee products that I can say a lot of really great things about to being long lasting. I could tell you that in the short term of things, within a year or two, I'd say a couple years, about a year or two, the cordless ratchet, the cordless impacts, the stubby impacts, those tools are great and they work well. They just have a lot of battery issues, I've noticed. Now, you may or may not have noticed, but I've noticed. So I don't care for the lineup for that. Other than that, for smaller hand tools, I think this is probably one of the better products that Milwaukee developed. It has a little stand where you can cool it down that way. You can set it up by the battery, whether you have the 14.4 or I'm sorry, the M12 or the smaller size one. Okay, it's a great product. I also use these Knipex zip tie wire nippers or dikes. Okay, so a pair of dikes this size for wire and stuff like that's going to last you a long time. I really didn't have to go the Knipex route a long time ago. These are flush cut or close to flush cut zip tie pliers, specifically made for cutting plastic zip ties, so you didn't dull them out over time by cutting too much copper. I can tell you that I've been using a small pair of dikes made by Cornwell or rebranded by Cornwell. The Knipex ones, I've used Matco ones, I've used cheap ones like let's put Husky in there for those of you that consider Husky to be cheap. Harbor Freight, okay. Even auto parts store brands. And I've never had a small pair of dikes really like wear out on me ever. I've even used the bigger size ones that are parent company Stanley, but Mac, and those things can cut coat hangers, and I love those for brake caliper hooks, or you bend the S in and you just make it work. So for those were great too. But I haven't really had any dull out on me, so to speak. So we use those tonight, the tool aid wire strippers, and I'll put product links to both these products, or most of these products, down in the description for you if it helps you out. Tool aid, this wire stripper is a hit and miss, okay? On bigger wires, it gets upset, and then when you go back to a smaller wire, it just won't strip. You let it sit for God knows how many days, you come back to it, then it starts stripping the smaller wires, but it has its time and place where it decides that it doesn't want to strip any wires, and that's where I use a torch or a lighter to do that. Rawson Core 6040 was what I was running, plus this soldering paste, or this flux paste. It worked out great too. Okay, I was showing the little woman how to exactly solder how I soldered, and she saw a few of the tricks already previously. Her dad actually had, or people that worked for her dad at his shop at one point, had already showed her a few of these tricks. So it was really cool to be able to like hear about that and see that.
Let's see what you got here.
This is probably the third variation of Matco pry bars they've done, changes to the handle.
I like the handles. The handles feel good.
I like them too. Also in the Snap-on truck, just for no reason other than I wanted one, I had picked up this, I believe it's an 80-tooth Snap-on locking flex head ratchet and all chrome handle. Did not get the comfort grip on this, but because this was like a last chance kind of blowout sale, I think it gave me a little bit of a deal on this as well. And this is just going to come in handy because I don't like taking my personal ratchet from the dealership back and forth to the independent shop to doing mobile mechanic work. It just doesn't work out well for me. Let's talk about this. Now, this whole last week's discussion has been about cheap tools and stuff like that. Look, I'll buy a cheap socket master mechanic set to start off with, but the first thing I'm dumping out of that is the ratchet, okay? So if you were ever gonna spend money, I can contest to buying a Matco or a Snap-on, maybe even a Cornwell, though I know they had some chrome chipping issues not too long ago. The Icon would be a good middle ground. Your gear wrench would be a good middle ground. I've heard good things about Capri, though I have not tried their ratchets out yet, would be a good middle ground. Mac, I know a lot of people that like the Mac ratchets and stuff like that, but the first thing I'm dumping out of a cheap master mechanic socket set is the ratchet. I just don't like them. I don't like the mechanism. I don't count on the teeth. I don't count on it slipping my wrist and then busting a knuckle. I just don't trust them. I don't like them. That's one of those things. I'll trust a socket all day long until it splits, but I hate the cheap ratchets. Hate them. Just hate them. There's a handful that I'll work with for a little bit because that's all I got. But in the end, the first thing I'm changing out is the ratchet. All right. Last thing on tonight's agenda. This is part number PB, like peanut butter. SO4C. This is I believe the third rendition of pry bar handle changes that Matco has made over the years. And I have been around these products since 2010. So about 11 years of knowing about Matco, what they have to offer. This is the third variation that they did with their handles. I like them. I do. Okay, it was a nice 4-piece set for what it is that I needed it for over at the independent shop, for certain cylinder heads, for engines, for transmission removals, for TK separation, for moving stubborn pulleys, be it an air compressor, AC compressor, or an alternator. I just, this is great. The one, I have not really bought too many pry bar sets. Most of them I kind of gave away. I don't really feel like I ever kept any of them. I still, to this day, have run from the same exact hard handle, square, Snap-on pry bars. Was like one of the first tools that I ever picked up from Snap-on when I was at community college. And that was in 2010. So 11 years later, I'm still using them. The cap had separated a little bit from the handle, but it's still attached. It has never come off. The handles are still in one piece. I've never split one all the way through where it's broken off. I love my Snap-on hard handle plastic pry bars. I think that I'm gonna like this feel best overall as far as pry bars, just where they put the finger indentations and it's where it's a mixture of rubber and a hardened plastic. I do own a couple of their old handled style, or second, I'll say second gen style pry bars, and it's okay. It's mostly all rubber, very little hard plastic, but I didn't have any issues with the striking cap. I didn't have any issues of it chipping. The Snap-on one, over 11 years of use, I've got a couple of chips and dings in it, but you know, it's meant for beating and prying on. What else are you gonna do with it, right? So I decided to pick these up for on the go, on the fly, be it mobile work or be it independent work. So that is the last tool for this evening. And this was my last chance to get any kind of sick deal on stuff that Garret had on the Snap-on tool truck. So now it's time to pay the bill down, get rid of the bill altogether, am I right? But I was not gonna not walk away with something today. I saw these, I wanted these. The hand ratchet just seemed like a good primo option. I've been running out of that Silver Eagle set for a minute now, for about the last month, and I've liked it, but I've been strongly wanting some flex head action, and I don't, like I said, I don't like taking the flex heads from work to use them because I want to make sure that I always have them on the hand, on the ready when I'm at the dealership. That's all that's going to be for this video. Cheers to those of you that have your beers or White Claws, and we will see you guys next time. Deuces.